Let's see here. Do we have people? Are we live? I love this new format for live streams. It's a guessing game until we get to see. Hello, okay, we are live. How's it going, everybody?
We've got Sailing SB Someday, we've got Hugh Van Damme, we've got Sean D, we've got Doug at Caledonia Sound and Recording Studio. How's it going? Tim Smith, Greg Leake, Anna Clote, 56. Dave is here.
Hey, Dave.
We decided to do this live stream pretty last minute because we are in the boatyard, and I forgot to ask Dave. So Dave's probably at work right now, and I was just like, hey, can you moderate? 2 minutes ago. So yeah. Dave, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we've got Frank Hopland, Goulash75, Enrique Thayer, Sean B., Brad Scott in the house.
Hey, Brad Scott.
Yeah, well, Brad's saying, holy crap, the light works. We'll see about that. Give it 5 minutes. We got Jim Axton, Oscar Chavez, Alberto Torres.
Faisal Yuhari. We got BD. We've got Trees Gifts, William Willard. Thanks for joining us, guys, tonight.
Oh, my brother, Jim.
Hey, Jim, how's it going? BD says, beer in hand. Nice. My brother's here. He says, salty MF. We got Larry Sumner. How's it going? SV Spirit Libre. Nice to see you guys. Trevor Evans over in the Philippines. Rob Siegel. Lots of people tonight. This is awesome.
Yeah. So a couple people were just asking about dogs. So we're at...
Scott Wise.
We're at Desiree's cousin's house. And he's been kind enough to let us stay here while Atticus is in the boatyard. So it just so happened that her cousin works at the Chiquita port, which is right across from the boatyard. And so it's been really awesome, and he's got some dogs. So you may hear the dogs.
Yeah, one's a pretty rambunctious puppy, so he's pretty loud.
Yeah.
He's a good protector, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are in the boatyard in a little town called Almirante, and there's not much going on there. It's kind of like a place that a lot of tourists pass through to get to Bocas Del Toro or Bastimento. Is kind of like the nicer places to cruise. So there's a couple of shops, a lot of grocery stores, and then a random boatyard in the mangroves, which is where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy there. I mean, it's nice, actually. It's just basically a parking lot in the mangroves. What's crazy about it is the chitres, the bugs. So that's why we decided to commute to my cousin's place, because we didn't want to have to deal with shutting the boat down at about 4:30, hunkering inside and cooking and being hot, and also organizing all of our tools. So we've been having a really good time in a house.
Yeah, especially the last thing that Desiree was saying, I think is the biggest deal. The fact that inside of Atticus right now, our tools are just all over the place. Relatively organized, but we don't have to stow them every night. They're all accessible. And so it's really, really a huge time-saving thing to be able to show up to the boat and just get to work. Mm-hmm. Tim Leary is in the house. I want to give a special shout out to Tim Leary. He's been giving me a lot of
cool.
really awesome rigging advice, mostly, but all kinds of advice. So yeah, he's become my go-to information guy.
Sorry for calling you all the time.
yeah, Tim. Thanks for putting up with me calling you constantly.
And we've got Hector Vega.
Well, hey Hector, how are you? Tim asked, how's the mast refit going? And so,
yeah, you can grab
we could grab the mast bases. So we could actually open it in front of you guys.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Let's unbox it.
But yeah, the mast refit is going. We're pretty much there with the masts themselves. We need to install the new tangs and install the bases. Let me grab them real quick.
We've got someone from Chicago saying hello. We've got Robert Smith. We've got Deb and him. Cute. We've got Jay Bone. Sailing SV Someday. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I gotta turn my phone notifications off. Darla says, what did you buy before you set sail? Oh boy. How do I get up there? Oh boy.
What are you trying to look at?
Yeah. What did you buy before you set sail permanently that you later determined that you did not need? A vacuum sealer for food. Definitely.
We bought one of those?
It was a gift. Most everything on Atticus is secondhand or a gift.
Okay.
Be right back.
So here is the mast base for the mizzen. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Okay. I gotta be careful here.
What happened?
I'm just dropping so Jim Ulmer, who you guys met in last week's episode, made these mast bases for us, and he sent me some fiberglass washers, which are super awesome.
That's
but
cool.
They're falling out of this bag, so I gotta be careful.
Well, while Jordan's doing that, I can talk about our tangs. We got our new tangs redone also with Kiwi Dave. He nailed everything except for 2 tangs. So we're gonna really have to be problem solving this week to figure out how to fix that. We might be a little bit longer in the boatyard because of it. We'll have to see.
Cool.
Woo,
so there
pretty.
you go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Touch it.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That is looking pretty slick.
Is that Teflon?
Yeah, those are the inserts right there.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the new mizzen base. And then we've got the base for the main as well. So
wow.
I mean, we're just so freaking lucky. This is awesome.
Okay, I want to hold it.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool. And then he hollowed out the inside. Oh, there's the lighting. Hollowed out the inside so that we get away with some weight. So it'd be cheaper for us to receive it and to pay customs on it. So
yeah.
Wow, this is awesome.
Oh, and Brad Scott says, talking about mast bases, I'll just say extrusion for all of you who are still
extrusion.
playing the drinking game, just in case you need an excuse. Yeah. But so the mast project is going pretty well. This last week, and you guys will see, well, not tomorrow obviously, but next Thursday we'll have an episode that has a lot of the boatyard projects that we've been working on. Long story short, we pretty much have been replacing the bobstay chain plate. We've been in the process of that, dealing with putting a sleeve into our gudgeon where one of the pintles has been kind of rubbing on the gudgeon. We pulled the prop and the prop shaft and replaced the stuffing in the stuffing box, cleaned up the stuffing box, replaced the cutlass bearing, realigned the engine. There's more than that, and I just can't. Remove the bobstay chain plate and getting a new one made. Got these new tangs, so we're just about there. The plan is to try to splash on Monday, and if everything goes well, then hopefully we'll be back into the marina. This stay has been really nice that we've been able to stay at Desiree's cousin Kayon's house. But we are looking forward to getting Atticus out of the boatyard.
And it's just kind of an exhausting stage of our existence right now because we have to wake up at like 5:30 to get to the boatyard in time to get in 8 or 9 hours a day before the bugs get really bad at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we commute for an hour total, so about 30 to 35 minutes there, 30 to 35 minutes back, and then we have to park and walk, and we're in the sun a lot, so it's actually pretty exhausting, but again, it is nice having a house and a big kitchen and 2 dogs, but yeah, it's kind of, we were talking today, it's kind of like being in a passage. It resets your brain to realize that you have it really good when you're just at anchor and all you're worried about is, what's for dinner. We've been having to problem solve a lot, and it's been pretty crazy. I had a question from someone. Jared H. was asking, why hasn't Desiree been in the last couple of videos? And that's a good question, and actually I'll be in a lot of the videos in the boatyard because it's kind of like our responsibility breakdown. A while ago, Jordan we kind of switched roles, so Jordan is all maintenance and I did all of our admin stuff, whereas I used to do a little bit more of boat work, but I just enjoy working on the computer a lot more, and we have a lot of stuff that we need to get done online, so I've been doing that while we've been in Bocas, but since we're in the boatyard, and it's kind of expensive to be hauled out every day, and it's not very pleasant, we're both full-time just doing manual labor, so it's been it's been a wake up call for me. I've been thanking Jordan for doing all the hard work all the time for over a year.
Yeah, and it's a fair thing to bring up, though. You guys should know that there's just a lot of back-end stuff that Desiree does. So between getting some of our new swag sorted out and dealing with a lot of the stuff that we're getting shipped in, which, we've got our furler coming, we've got a water maker coming, we've got like a new mizzen boom coming. Mm-hmm. So Desiree's been on top of a lot of that and trying to work out sponsorships, and there's just a lot of stuff. And so as well as helping me with editing too. So yeah, that's why we want to try to start getting Desiree in there more, but just lately there's been an exceptional amount of computer work. So
and then I actually film a lot of the videos that Jordan does, so I'm always behind the camera.
And that's kind of the big thing, right? Because we've even found, like, every now and then we'll say, okay, Desiree, you do this now and I'll film you, and she'll kind of start doing it and then she'll say, oh wait, well, what do I do about this? And I'll have to tell her, right? Because I understand the process and what's happening and she doesn't. So we find that if we want to actually get the projects done quickly, then it's generally better if she's behind the camera, I'm in front of the camera, and we just go for it, So anyway.
But it has been cool in the boatyard. Like I said, we have a list of, I'm still on film duty, so I videotape everything that Jordan does. And then we have a list of projects for me to do when Jordan's doing something in the cockpit locker, and I just need to waste an hour. So it's been fun just installing things and getting the zinc off the boat and cleaning up the stuffing box and little things like that. So that's been fun.
So, and Russell Egg real quick says, what happened to the wooden bases? We still have them. We're just not going to use them.
And I don't know what we're going to do with them because they're really heavy. So
we'll probably just give them to someone or sell them to someone who needs the wood.
Right.
Because it is good wood.
Yeah. There was actually someone with an Allied Seawind who messaged us and was asking if they could have them. We'd have to figure out how to get it to them because it would be quite expensive because that is very heavy wood.
This is a funny question or comment. Alan Brunel says, I thought you guys quit your jobs to sail. It seems like you work harder now. Yeah, kind of. But that's just because of the channel. If it wasn't for the channel, then we would be working on boats and sailing. And so at least, I don't know, 60-70% of our time would be working on boats then. So we never quit our jobs with the intention of retiring.
Right.
We don't have that kind of money. So we kind of went from working on other people's boats to working on YouTube videos, basically.
Yeah, and I think we're both just kind of used to those jobs that don't have hours necessarily. Like, we met working on super yachts, and you're working all the time. You're just go when you need to be. And then in Key West, we worked on charter boats there. And so owning a boat and doing a YouTube channel is, again, one of those unconventional jobs where you're just go. And I like it. It's a nice balance. When we're overworked with editing, then we, do some manual labor or go cruising. And then once the novelty of cruising kind of dissipates, then we can, get back to work and start some editing. So I like it. But Darla was asking, was there anything that you bought that we ended up not needing? What was your answer for that?
Yeah, that's right. That, like, a thing that we bought that we ended up not needing.
Yeah. What about you guys out there? Anything that you bought on your boat and you thought you're sure you're going to use it, and then 4 or 5 years go by and you don't even crack it open?
I think here that I would need some time to think about that. One thing that we did get, I don't know if you remember, in Isla Mujeres, we bought a foldy bike.
Oh yeah.
It was like an old used foldy bike, and we did it because we needed bikes in Isla Mujeres, and it's actually a great thing to do if you're going to be somewhere for a couple months, is buy a bicycle right when you get there. You can lock it up ashore somewhere and then sell it when you leave. And we should have just gotten normal bikes, but we had this image in our head of maybe we could figure out a way. We'll just figure out a way to store the bikes on the boat. We'll figure it out. And since then, I've had like the opposite approach to stuff on the boat, which is there is no more room. Not only can we not fit more stuff on the boat, we have to get stuff off the boat.
Right.
So that's been kind of a mentality change for me, is to stop trying to get big stuff on the boat. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, renting bikes, or we used to rent a bike every weekend when we were in Bocas, just to kind of clear our minds of everything. That's only $5 a day. Or even buying a bike when you get to a place and then selling it afterwards. That's a pretty good idea. Something else that we both have gotten rid of, which was a sad day for both of us, was Jordan got rid of his skateboard, which we never was able to use, and I had to get rid of my rollerblades.
Yeah, and that's really a function of, since we've been in mostly developing countries, the sidewalks are not in good enough condition for skateboards, really. Yeah, so that's been kind of a unfortunate thing. I think we've also both started to have more of a conservative view of hurting ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
We used to take more risks.
We really did, yeah. Sean D was asking, it seems like a lot of other channels are using drones more and more. Do you anticipate using drones more? And if so, what drone do you recommend? From Lake Ontario.
Great. That's actually a really cool question. I like that question because I think that with a lot of the technology that's coming out, whether it be drones, whether it be affordable, high quality, DSLRs and mirrorless cameras, there's a lot of technology out there now that can really make your videos look impressive. But in my opinion, as long as technologically you kind of are up there with everybody else, that's all you need to worry about. And then you need to worry about story. You need to worry about, are you telling a compelling story? Are you saying things that people are interested in? Are you covering stories that people are interested in? And so, to me, we're going to use more drone footage, but we're both very, we both really want to make sure that we don't spend too much time just getting beautiful shots when we could be spending that time actually telling a story. And I think that goes for everything, like I said, whether it be cameras or whatever. Because it's a trap. It really is a trap. I don't mean to sound self-righteous here. We fall into it too. And when we fall into it, we try to remember, okay, stop spending so much time trying to make this one shot look so amazing, when in reality I think what most people want to watch is a good story. Yeah,
or a challenge, rather than seeing a beautiful island and all the way 360 view of the beautiful island, maybe what's more compelling is our reaction to the island, or we get stung by something, something that's unexpected. So I'd say I'm kind of the purist when it comes to the drone footage.
Yeah. I'm more excited about using the drone. She's like, let's just throw it in the water. That thing just takes up a lot of time.
It sank. Darn it.
Yeah.
Because I think in a way it's kind of a little bit of a crutch. That being said, there are some places that are just drop dead gorgeous when you see an aerial view of them. And it's hard to convey when you're at the water level. So I do see the value of it, but I'm kind of the one who's like, all right, let's focus on other things other than, you can only watch something pretty for so long, I feel like.
Yeah, totally. Well, and plus the market's saturated with it. I mean, you can find beautiful aerial footage of everything you could possibly imagine, So it's just saturated too. But anyway, so we use a Mavic Air at the moment, which is not working.
Yeah.
And it's a super bummer because, I do want to get some aerial shots of the boatyard. Perfect example of when the drone would actually help us tell a story. It's because the boatyard is in the middle of kind of a swamp, right? It's just mangroves. And so from the ground level, it's hard to tell that. From the air, you can really see it clearly. And so, anyway, it's not working at the moment. So we're in the process of trying to get a second one, and we've had some offers of people, some of you guys out there, saying that you have a spare drone, and we really appreciate that. We might be able to get one here. So anyway, it's something that we're dealing with.
But as far as which one to go with, we went with the Mavic Air because of its size. We wanted to not have to haul something huge around, and Atticus is really small, so often we go for the smallest option.
If we had like more money, more space, I would have an Air to like put in my pocket so we could have it on adventures, and then probably the Phantom, one of the bigger, nicer ones.
We had a couple questions from a while ago. KBZ was saying, Ron Jersky was asking, is the powder coat going to change the dimensions of the female end of the base?
For sure, a little bit, yeah. But we made this a little bit oversized, and then the plan was to just fill it with sealant when we step the mast. And so that would make up for the slight gap, and it would also keep water from pooling inside the female
And then
side.
another question about the mast, or our rigging, is
I can take
Adam Ulrich was saying, now that the mast is down, would you consider synthetic Dyneema rigging?
Oh yeah, I would definitely consider it. I'm a big fan of doing that someday, but right now we're already throwing a good amount of our money at a couple of projects, so the water maker being one of them.
And we just got new standing rigging like 4 years ago.
And so that's the thing. We're good on the standing rigging. So were I to replace all the standing rigging again, like if I were to get in a time machine and go back 3 years ago, I would seriously consider going synthetic for sure. And again, different people are going to have different opinions on this. The jury is still out on it because it's such new technology. But the thing that I like about it is simply that the failure modes are all visible. So you can, if it's degrading from UV, you can see that. If it's chafed against something, you can see it. And Dyneema is so freaking strong because you're actually sizing it for the stretch, not the strength. So you end up with, line that's, 5 times stronger than it needs to be. So when it chafes, you can cut through the majority of the material and still have enough strength. So long story short, with stainless steel, you can have things like crevice corrosion, and you can have some of the terminal fittings corroding on the inside. So stainless steel, you can have failure modes that you can't see before they happen.
And Trevor was asking, and I think Sailing with Ishi was asking about our water maker, and we have finally worked out a sponsorship deal. Not anything huge, just a small discount from a water making company out of Italy that is using some new technology to get really high efficiency water making pump. So Jordan can explain that better. But the company is called Osmosi, and we're really excited to work with them. The only kind of like downside is we're going to have to, the fittings are going to be metric, and so it might be kind of a pain to find some fittings and hoses that are compatible. But as far as the size of the unit and the cost of the unit, I think it's a really good fit for small sailors. And that's actually why we went with them, because they market themselves specifically for small sailboats. So.
Yeah, it's an Italian company, and I mean, long story short, we just looked at a handful of different brands, looked at the specs, and for the most part, Osmosi had the best published numbers for the size that we want.
That's my phone.
Yeah, you're gonna need to put that up quickly. We'll see if we just lost the stream, because we're streaming using Desiree's cell phone's internet. It just fell off the window. Okay, hopefully we're still there. So it's 12 volt, and it's going to run at about 7 amps. And it now, this is all off the top of my head, so I'm pretty sure it runs at 7 amps. And I think it produces like 5 to 6 gallons an hour. Gosh, see, I just don't have it off the top of my head right now, but it's one of those really low output but relatively efficient water makers, which is perfect for us because at 7 amps, we're pulling in 7 amps on a sunny day probably for a solid 3 hours, right? So if we just run it for an hour, then that's another two hours that we're getting like really. No, we're getting more than that anyway. So I'm being overly conservative.
And I usually have my computer with me, and I don't today, so it's a little bit weird. So would you mind getting the super chat list up so we can do some super chat thank yous? And in the meantime, we had a question from K Buzz 123 was asking, Desiree, have you been working on any sewing projects lately? And I have a bunch of sewing projects that I'd like to do for Atticus, especially before our Pacific crossing, but I haven't gotten to them yet. So on the top of my list is, since we removed the booms and the sails from Atticus, I just need to inspect our main and mizzen sails. I saw a couple of problem areas, so I'll have to just patch those up before we head over. Nothing big, but I just want to make sure it's reinforced. And then I wanted to add some extra storage options for our Pacific crossing because right now we don't have very much room at all for our vegetables. So it'd be really, really nice to use a lot of our vertical space. So hopefully we'll do a video about that soon. Let's see.
Okay, so you got them right here.
Oh, great. Can you help me out? I can't see very far.
Yeah. So we have got Larry. Are we starting from the beginning, by the way? I think so.
Yeah.
So we've got Larry Summer, thank you very much. Darcy and Bruce Adventures. Jeff Manzanares says, hey, buds, good to see you. Shout out to James and Kimmy, too.
Oh, cool.
Just saw they were here also. Cool. Richard Berguilos, thank you very much, Richard. Captain Fish says, for Tequila Republic, if you haven't been there yet, at the other end of town. Yeah,
cool.
we have been there, and at the very least, we walk by it all the time. So.
We've got Rory Tens. We've got Brad Scott says, holy crap, it sounds like you guys have real jobs these days. Waking up early, commuting, etc. Show the pups